Hello and welcome to Studio 415.
On today's show, you'll hear how the Carroll community rallied around the memory of one student's life.
You'll see how a part of the freshman center is being renovated.
And you'll hear what your peers think about students who choose to sit or stand during the Pledge of Allegiance.
All of that and more coming up next.
The loss of a teammate, the loss of a player is very difficult.
It doesn't represent liberty or justice for all. It represents liberty and justice for some.
I saw it as an opportunity to work with students and teachers in the community I live in.
Welcome to Studio 415. I'm William Jameson.
And I'm Stella Brewer-Vartanian.
To kick off its football season, Carroll held its first home game in honor of Owen, a valued member of the student body who tragically passed away over the summer.
Studio 415 reporter Tristan Wasserman was at the Orange Out game to hear how Sheely will be remembered by those who knew him.
On June 7th, 2022, Carroll High School lost a member of its community, Owen Sheely. His friends and colleagues describe him as outstanding, funny, and influential. It is obvious that Owen's mark will be forever engraved on the hearts of his classmates. The Carroll High School community gathered against the Snyder Panthers in the stands of the Charter Stadium, covered in bright orange. On Friday, August 27th, 2022, Carroll High School held the first home game of its season in honor of Sheely. Gilbert Russling, senior leader of the student section, describes Carroll High School students as a force of affection and kindness.
More than just a school, people that go to school together, we're rather a community. I just think it just shows how we can unify and just show our love to a family that needs it in this time.
Carroll was not the only school to pay homage to Owen. The Snyder football team made a donation in honor of Owen's life. His impact as a person spread far and wide, with hundreds visiting his Caring Bridge website page to view his progress against chronic myeloid leukemia. Assistant Principal and Athletic Director Dan Ginder says that Owen has a vast reach across the city of Fort Wayne.
I like to think this is a celebration of Owen, a celebration of his circle of influence and what he had on impact on his kids. And as you saw pregame with his teammates that he had with the Snyder kids and across the city.
His impact at the game was expressed in the turnout. According to Ginder, there were approximately 6,500 people in the stadium. Along with the turnout, it was the biggest night of ticket sales in the stadium's history. At the end of the game, his peers, colleagues, and friends gathered to say one last farewell.
If I could say one thing to Owen, I'd just tell him that we are all coming together to win this together.
I love you, man.
Just that I love him, everybody out there loves him, and I know he's in a better place now and that he's enjoying watching us from above.
If I saw Owen, I would definitely tell him that it was for him and that it was all for him, and that every play I would look up to him, and I know he was celebrating with us, all our celebrations. I know that was all for him. So I'd tell him, I wish you were here, man, but we did it for you.
Owen, I would say I love you, brother. Can't wait to see you again. I know we will someday. Save me a spot, baby.
We got work to do, Al. Yes, sir.
I really miss your inappropriate, very bad jokes and physics. I miss them all, man. I miss playing 7-on-7 with you. That's about it, really. I love the dude. I miss him every day.
I think it would just be say, man, Owen, look around you. Look at the impact you've had on all of us, on our school, on our community, and well done. Well done, Owen.
With the incredible turnout of tonight's Orange Out game, it is obvious what Owen meant to the community of Carroll High School. He will not be forgotten, but remembered as the one who brought us all together. For Studio 415, I'm Tristan Wasserman.
During announcements every morning, students at Carroll rise from their desks and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. However, some students choose to remain seated and silent.
In my story, I examine the history of the pledge and why some students choose to sit and why others decide to stand.
The Pledge of Allegiance, created in 1892, was originally written by socialist minister Francis Bellamy to mark the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival on the shores of what is now modern-day Venezuela. Since its introduction, the pledge has undergone several changes. For instance, after reciting the pledge, students were originally instructed to salute the flag, which unfortunately closely resembled the Nazi Party's Sieg Heil, and so, in 1942, students were instructed to instead put their hand over their chest. Additionally, President Dwight D. Eisenhower decided to add "Under God" to the pledge in 1954 in response to the anti-communist hysteria of the decade. But ever since NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick kneeled during the national anthem to protest police brutality in 2016, debate over standing for the anthem and the pledge have been reignited into the public conscience. Carroll Jr. Zachary Novell, who has family members in the military and in public service, feels that sitting for the pledge is disrespectful towards the country and its servicemen and women.
It just makes me feel kind of disgusted that they don't have like that respect for their country, even though people have laid down their life for them, and they just don't like respect that, and they don't like acknowledge that.
However, Carroll sophomore Oweza Momo believes that the Pledge of Allegiance does not represent what it claims to, and that if she did stand for the flag, she would be doing so dishonestly.
It represents liberty and justice for some, but not everyone's being represented. And so I feel that I'm not being represented, and also, you know, some other people I know aren't, like even at school. And, you know, that on a big scale in America, I just don't feel like I should stand up for a pledge that I don't believe in or I can't believe in.
A survey conducted by Studio 415 found that of 683 respondents, 85% of students stand during the Pledge of Allegiance while 15% sit. Those that sit cited political disagreements with the American government, discomfort with having to say the phrase "under God," and with the quote-unquote propaganda-like nature of a daily pledge. Of all respondents, 47% believe that sitting for the pledge is unpatriotic. Regardless of public opinion, choosing not to participate in the Pledge of Allegiance is federally protected under the First Amendment ever since 1943, when the Supreme Court ruled in the case of West Virginia State Board of Education versus Barnett that students cannot be forced into saluting or reciting the pledge. Furthermore, students are allowed to visibly protest, such as by raising a fist or kneeling on the ground, but they are not allowed to protest in a way that prevents other students from participating in the pledge.
Whether you decide to sit or stand for the pledge, remember to remain respectful of others' opinions and decisions. With Studio 415, I'm Stella Brewer-Vartanian. Following the start of any school year, change is always felt in the halls of Carroll High School. This year, students can find a familiar face with a new title.
Studio 415 reporter Sawyer Maddox takes a look at the new position Cleve Million has taken at Carroll.
Thanks, Will and Stella. As most of you probably know, Assistant Principal Cleve Million has recently become principal after former Principal Brandon Bidding decided to pass on the torch. In my story, I look at what Principal Million's opinions are and what he plans to do in the future.
Starting late in the 2022 school year, former Assistant Principal Cleve Million began his transition to Principal of Carroll. Million says he saw it as a new opportunity. This year, his transition is completed, though his new position has come with new responsibilities.
A lot of opportunities to kind of collaborate with community leaders, to kind of hear their voice, to hear what's going on in the community and how we can, as a school and as an educational community, how we can come alongside them and steer the direction of our area.
Since Million has started his new job as principal, he has wanted to get started on rebuilding the community at Carroll. Students have had an overall positive feedback to the transition, saying they believe he is a good fit for his new job.
His previous administrative experience makes him, I'd say that, kind of trained him, so to speak.
In the wake of the pandemic, Principal Million hopes to rebuild the Carroll community, but not only to rebuild the community amongst students, but also to rebuild the community amongst teachers and staff as well.
Getting students back involved and engaged and working with each other, working with their teachers. I think there needs to be community with the teachers as well. I think there's been a longing and a sense of, we want to be able to get together and have fun and enjoy what we're doing, and I think that's one of the big things is just rebuilding that community.
Though no new policies have been introduced to Carroll by Principal Million, he hopes throughout the year to be able to rebuild the community amongst Carroll students and its staff in his everyday actions. For Studio 415, I'm Sawyer Maddox.
Freshman students have noticed a change within the Freshman Center by hearing the loud noises and seeing construction workers building new walls.
Studio 415 reporter Alia Sala has looked into the new changes and joins us in the studio.
The front of the Freshman Center cafeteria is undergoing a renovation. I spoke with the school administrators to find out why this is happening and what is being built.
Starting this past June, former Chief Operations Officer John Miller, along with a few other administrators, came up with a plan to change the CFC stage into 8 office rooms. This will be a permanent office space for district-wide NACS staff that don't already have one. This could include speech pathologists, school psychologists, district English language learner teachers, and more. This change could affect students within the CFC. Assistant Principal Jeremy Yates believes that the construction will not disrupt students' school day.
I don't know that it's going to have a big impact on them. I think it's going to give us another usable space to do maybe some group presentations and stuff like that.
Throughout the school day, some students may have noticed construction workers passing by their classroom or in the hallways.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing the workers around. They're pretty cool though. Yeah. It's like a hallway. It's just like all tore down. Looked kind of cool.
While some students have found the construction interesting, others don't have much of an opinion.
I've seen a couple of them, and I mean, they don't really bother anyone. They just kind of stay in the area.
Some students may still hear noises coming from the construction if they are in Monica Lalande's room, Christine Francie's room, or other nearby classrooms. This shouldn't last much longer since new Chief Operations Officer Brandon Bidding gives an approximate time frame for the completion of the project.
The biggest thing we're waiting on now is going to be the HVAC system, and so we're hoping that everything is in place and done by the end of this first semester.
With the completion of the construction coming right around the corner, students can expect to hear less noise and see some new faces around the building. For Studio 415, I'm Alia Sala.
Go-karts, mini golf, and new arcade games. All of these are coming to Crazy Pinz in early October.
Studio 415 reporter Georgia Chrisman brings us more on the big changes to the local entertainment center.
Thanks, guys. Crazy Pinz was built in 2007 and since then has not had any big expansions. Crazy Pinz is planning some big changes that will add some new attractions to the business. Started in the spring of 2021, construction at the Crazy Pinz on Lima Road will be finished and open for the public in early October. With a 30,000 square foot expansion, Crazy Pinz is expected to get a new variety of attractions with all the new games they'll be bringing in. This includes a 300-foot go-kart track. The inspiration for the go-karts is Mario Kart. It will include power-ups that you pick up along the track. Crazy Pinz employee Jagger Boggs says that students won't be able to experience a track like this anywhere else.
The go-karts, because of its originality, or it has power-ups like you see in Mario Kart, and I think you don't really see that anywhere, so it's going to be really cool to see.
Alongside the go-karts, they are adding 20-plus arcade games and expanding their current 9-hole mini golf course to an 18-hole course. Manager Evan Snoffer says that the golf course has been due for a change for quite some time.
I'm very excited for it. Growing up, I played on that mini golf course all the time. That mini golf course has been here since the beginning of the building. So seeing it being upgraded to something with twice the amount of holes and also 4 times the space, it's very exciting.
Crazy Pinz is now one of 2 places in Fort Wayne that provide indoor go-karts. Snoffer believes that by putting Fort Wayne staples of local businesses on the side of the go-karts will draw customers in. Make sure to head out to Crazy Pinz October 1st to see their new attractions. And for Studio 415, I'm Georgia Chrisman.
That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching.
If there's a story you would like us to cover, please let us know.
For all of us here at Studio 415, have a great week, Carroll.